Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Echo. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. Had a pretty, I don't know, it was an allergy attack in the middle of the night. It was no joke. Super aggressive. Ugh, Missouri and the fall allergies. And usually something really catastrophic happens to my sinuses around January. One year it came as early as November. And one year it was February, but almost something really diabolical happens in terms of my sinuses and a major attack. That wasn't it, but it felt like it. Last night I was like, what's happening? It was rough. Anyway, if you haven't seen any of those Jeffrey Epstein leaked emails, you should Google it and find a few to read. They're quite fascinating. A lot of people have misinterpreted some of them because I think they were speaking in some sort of code, and it's kind of shocking to think about it, but I guess if you're going to be a double agent and a spy and a horrible human, you got to communicate some kind of way. So sending emails just seems so, innocuous, but apparently they got to communicate. And so Ghislaine Maxwell was G-Max something or other at Gmail, and then Jeffrey had some sort of J.E. Epstein vacation at gmail.com. It's like, what? Just very strange. But anyway, you get the impression that Jeffrey Epstein was not a huge Donald Trump fan, was shocked that the media hadn't put it together, that, Donald was a big part of it, of the sex trafficking, had been on the Lolita Express, and he also alludes that that Trump may have been, an informant for the feds, and he also alludes that there's probably some good blackmail on him. I think the Saudis may hold it, which is interesting because if the Saudis hold it, then I'm sure the Chinese have seen it, and I'm sure the Russians have seen it. And I think that's that's how Israel keeps its power. And you got to understand, we're not talking about anti-Semitism. At least I'm not. I'm not anti anything. And so they have been using, and Tucker Carlson made it clear that they have been using this playbook that black people have been using, especially in St. Louis, for years. If you criticize me, then you're racist. And so the Jewish people, I don't even think it's fair to call them Jewish people, the pro-Israel people are, if you criticize me, you hate Jewish people. And that's playbook. It's a strategy, and it works really well. It has worked in St. Louis politics forever. And it keeps people from criticizing them. And finally, the stuff here has been so bad, people had to say something. But the number one thing you get is, you're racist. And it's like, and black people are really slow to call out black incompetence. So it's been very, very interesting to see this play out on the stage, where it's like, well, you're just anti-Semitic. And it's like, no. There's also an interview where Jared Kushner, he says what the plan is. They want to get rid of Palestine because that's prime real estate. And I don't know, if someone was interested in developing it, they could turn it into a tax haven for very wealthy people. And it would be right there along the sea, and it would be beautiful. And he gave an interview and he said it. So clearly that's part of the plan. If you ever wonder, like, why are these billionaires, why are all these people so happy to just, get rid of a whole group of people and displace the ones that survive? Why are they okay with it? And it sounds like they're okay with it because A, they feel entitled to the land, and B, they want to develop it to make it a tax haven. So all of that blood spilled for that. If that's true, that there is a special place in hell for you. You are taking people's lives, and all under the auspices of you're getting rid of a terrorist organization, you know. And don't sleep. There are plenty of people in Congress who've already bought their condo share. What do you think the AIPAC money was for? They blackmail you, and then you're part of the cabal. And I do believe that they do hold a very huge cachet of blackmail. Because I agree with Tucker Carlson, which I never thought I would, but he makes a salient point. Like, Israel needs America, not the other way around. It's a psyop to think that America needs Israel for anything. So they have made people believe like, oh, we're just helping them. But now it's so bad in America when you just see the rafts of money that we're never going to pay back going to other countries, including Israel. It's like, well, how is this America first? It's not America first. It's America's billionaires first, because they're benefiting and they're going to be able to have a tax-free, amazing vacation spot. Thanks to Jared Kushner and his big yap, we all know about it now. And it's wild. It's unconscionable. People haven't even recovered in America from Hurricane Helene. Yes, there are people here in St. Louis. Yes, and some of them might be considered wealthy, but their houses haven't been repaired either. Winter is coming, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of damaged structures and houses with no roofs on them. And people go, well, they'll be fine. They live in Clayton. Well, I don't know why you can't feel sorry for people who have money, because you should be empathetic to anybody who wasn't expecting to have their fucking roof blown off. And now 9 months later, there's no solution still, because these insurance agencies, they play games with you. You can't just go out and rebuild your own roof or you violate your policy. It's like, this is insane. This is insane. I know people who, I think they just moved out of their houses. I didn't ask. They said they were living in a apartment, and I just was like, okay. Because I know it's sad and I know it's frustrating. And apply my frustration with the healthcare system and insurance across, housing. It's like, what's happening? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of bullshit, too. And it's saying all that, and it's the middle of November. Time is flying. I did wake up in the night, like I said, with these allergies, and somebody was making a point like, you do see a difference between our northern lights and what you normally see in Alaska and Greenland and Iceland and all those places, wherever they see them. And I do think the solar flares caused something, but they believe they were from, like they were manufactured, which I don't know. I don't know what HARP is doing. There's so much going on. CERN, look that up, CERN. I do believe there have been portals open to other dimensions. And someone was like, oh yeah, I want to say Tucker Carlson, who's a very, straight arrow. One thing I like about him off of Fox is that I don't agree with his politics. I won't ever agree with his politics, but like I said, we're the same age. So we have a shared worldview. We remember what the world was like growing up 50 years ago. And, I think Tucker and, Tucker was talking about how he didn't even want to tell his wife, but he had a very vivid, dimensional, demonic experience. And I don't want to take his words, I don't want to just mangle his words, but it was something to that effect. You can Google it. But he didn't really want to talk about it. And he didn't want to scare people. But there are people right now opening dimensions, portals, dealing with demons. And I know it sounds insane, and it does, but I believe it's still happening. Just because we don't want to believe it doesn't mean it's not true, right? And so you have to consider, the sum of this is spiritual. It's spiritual warfare. We're dealing with different dimensions, evil, pure evil. And a lot of these people worship evil. You got to understand, you don't go home with some of these folks. You don't know what people are doing. When you think they're talking about God, that doesn't mean they're talking about the same God you talk about and that I talk about and that I feel in my spirit that I believe is the source that woke me up and put love in my heart. There are people out here who get desperate, like Matthew Perry, and they just say shit like, I would just do anything to be famous. And that alerts demons. And they show up and they try to wreak havoc in your life. And you cut deals. A lot of people don't realize that when you say shit like that, you're going to open up a bunch of pathways, neural pathways in your brain that will then send out signals to people who may not be good, and they know that you're susceptible. And they make sure your life is miserable because you cut a deal, whether you knew it or not. And some people want to be famous so badly, or they want to be rich so badly, that they will allow themselves to get consumed by evil and greed. And it happens because you have free will. You can do that. And I believe that there are people out here who, they were talking about, I forgot, I listen to so much stuff because, I listen and work at the same time. And so I'm not always paying attention to what I'm listening to. I look at something and I was like, oh, this sounds cool, or I listen to this person and I put it on. They were saying on some podcast that I was watching on YouTube that a lot of these tech billionaires do the same kind of drugs. I think I mentioned this before because HBO has this Mountain Head thing. You should watch it. It was wild. And they all do the drug together, and they have accessed, and they didn't do this in Mountain Head, but it gives you the concept like, oh, they're not all there. So apparently they all like ketamine. Ketamine is like a big deal, and Matthew Perry did a lot of ketamine as well. And so ketamine and ayahuasca and all these drugs that alter your brain, and a lot of people do go into it and get healing from something, some trauma or a bad habit, or they're trying to reach their highest selves. And then a lot of these people are seeing the same demons, and they come back to reality and they're like deeply fucked up, like, oh shit, did you see that? I saw that demon too. But what they don't understand too is I think some of these people are revealing that they're the demon. Like the demon they're seeing is them. If your journey is to traverse to your highest self and you see a fucking demon, maybe you saw yourself and you didn't recognize it as yourself. Or maybe you're all being guided by this demon, and that's why you all keep seeing him. Anyway, they come back fucked up. And, when you're that rich and you don't have anything else to do, you do a lot of weird shit. And then you're also an egomaniac. So you think you know more than everybody. And then you try to control everybody. Like, it's a whole vicious thing going on. So who knows what's really happening? And, the biggest psyop in the world has been these fucking electric cars. What a nightmare. Why would you think? So just on the surface of it, it may be a cool concept, but these electric cars are going to outlive you. And it takes different resources to even make the fucking things. And they just kind of live forever until they don't. And then if it dies on you, you're not going to want to replace the engine on that thing. It's going to be astronomical. It's not like going to the corner guy who works on cars and be like, hey, can you fix this? Hell no, I can't. Listen, I think it's all about to come out in the wash. I don't know why. I feel like this is my season because, I'm deeply into telling the truth. And a lot of things I know, certainly around here, that haven't been truthful, haven't been revealed yet. And I think a lot of people are getting nervous because they're starting to see, like, people aren't kidding. They're holding you accountable finally. And Donald Trump promised a whole bunch of things. And now people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and regular people who really believed this guy was going to be honest and sincere and be who they thought he was going to be are finally like, yo, you're beholden to Israel. That wasn't in any of your speeches. You're being handheld by Netanyahu, and basically he is pimp slapping you all around the White House because he has all this blackmail on you. What is it that he got on you that you don't want anybody to know? Why is it that you said you were going to release the Epstein files and then now you got the entire FBI combing through all this shit trying to redact your name out of shit? That's crazy. It's crazy. And why are all the people who were talking about being open and doing all this stuff that's going to be different, Kash Patel, and now they're scared? Kash Patel looks like a lunatic. And people think he's been compromised by his Israeli girlfriend. And when you look at him, you could tell he didn't get girls. So yeah, I'm sure this pretty girl, it's not hard to corrupt these people is what I'm saying. Now you think you're in love with this great person who just happens to be from the Israeli army. What is happening? And it's all to keep extorting America to keep paying for Israel's big bad war. And they start a lot of wars. I mean, it's really fascinating to watch. It would be a movie, except nobody has the courage to make this movie because, I don't know, it would give them too much power and influence. And it would be too close to the truth. But I think we're starting to reach the tipping point where people are just going to demand the truth. Because it's way too hard to be a regular American right now. It just is. And none of this is coming from me. This is stuff I hear people with much bigger platforms are starting to wake up and talk about. And what they never wanted was to get a conscious America. You talk about a sleeping giant. You got a bunch of people here who feel entitled to the truth, who feel entitled to freedom of speech. And we haven't been free in a long time. There's a ton of censorship in America, and it's only gotten worse. And people are starting to realize, wait a minute, things aren't just tight on me. I've got fucking chains on me. Yeah, it's an interesting time to be an American. It really is. And I'm watching it in real time. It's pretty cool. Have a great weekend. Listen, if you say your prayers and you believe in God and you are a light in a dark season, you are protected. It's the people out here who don't know what's going on, who pretend that they don't know what's going on, people who are part of the darkness and want everybody to just stay asleep so they can keep doing their dirt. Yeah. Those are the people that should be worried. And baby, they are very, very worried. Have a great weekend.